Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame College Football. Welcome into the show, everybody. Hankster, Mars Jams. Welcome in, folks. Welcome in. Everybody, make sure to wipe your feet on your way in. Let's talk some college football. Little Sooner football, little round the country football. We're going to talk about a few different things tonight. Glad to have everybody back in the house tonight. And, you know, this is that time of the year. There isn't a ton of stuff to talk about, but it even gets me looking at the recruiting stuff, which, you know, it doesn't happen all that often. But, hey, what's up, Professor? There we are. Speaking of recruiting, welcome in the Professor to the recruiting show. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's trending for OU a little bit tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about this ruling on the NIL that happened in the federal court this past week that really looks like it's going to – it could really change everything as far as the way things are. Everybody better have their stuff in order when it comes to NIL because it's going to matter. It's just going to matter. Hey, what's up, Kim? Good to see you in here. Yeah, listen, a lot of different stuff going on as far as that goes. Hey, just, we're hitting close to March now. Had a big Bedlam sweep in both women and men's basketball for Oklahoma. So that was big the other day. What's up, Casey? Good to see you, my man. Good stuff there. But as well, look, we're getting closer and closer to the start of Oklahoma's first season in the SEC. Still seeing quite a bit of Sooner Cowboys. What's up, man? How you doing? Still seeing a lot of – hey, man, that's cool. You want to jump in? If you want to jump in, let me know. Just got a, first season SEC, you're still getting a lot of Oklahoma disrespect. And if you ask me, I think it's crazy. Just don't really understand it. Hey, man, glad to see you too. But it's actually probably a good thing. We've been talking about it a lot, but I do feel like this is one of those deals where let them sleep. Let them sleep because the folks who aren't sleeping on Oklahoma are recruits, and we're seeing a lot of that right now. Trending for two of the top offensive line prospects in the country for the 2025 class. We already kind of knew about Michael Fasusi out of Louisville, Texas. He's the number 11. He's definitely a 5-star, number 11 overall in the 247 composite, I believe it is. You also got, you're just starting to hear a little bit about Ty Haywood out of Denton Ryan, I believe it is. He's also a 5-star according to Rivals. That's big, to see that kind of starting to happen with that. You already picked up a commitment from Ryan Foji, which, he's the same size and actually a little bit bigger than Michael Fasusi. So it looks like, Bill Bedenbaugh starting to get his legs underneath him a little bit as well. So that's a good deal. Just one of those, I just feel like this is one of those things where you're starting to see a lot of this stuff happen. You even actually, you're starting to look like Jay was talking about earlier. There could be a flip for defensive line prospect Malik Autry. He's an Alabama kid who's been committed to Auburn for over a year, but his defensive line coach there at Auburn actually had moved to Jacksonville. So that's possibility, I guess. I wouldn't really probably put I probably wouldn't put Oklahoma in his top 1 or 2 probably, but you never know. You never know. I mean, it's a possibility. And with Todd Bates being from Alabama, could have some connection there where you get an opportunity at least. You know what I mean? Also hearing about Luke Metz, linebacker out of Georgia, Mill Creek, Georgia, that is. He's got over 30 offers now. They're showing him as a 3-star at linebacker. With 30 offers, I'm not really sure, but hey, he's in the top 6 for Oklahoma, or Oklahoma's in his top 6. Look, Max Granville out of Houston, 6'2", 225. He's in the top 150. And I believe it's the on 3 that he was in the top 150. Looks like that'd be another big pickup for Oklahoma on that D-line. It's really important to continue to kind of add in these trenches. We know that. And that obviously is where, once again, this Oklahoma staff is really putting most of their eggs in that basket, right? But yeah, they want to see how they're going to continue to push that way. So heavy on the D line. You got to do it every year, don't you, Professor? In the SEC, that's where you got to be the better. You got to be best. They've got a couple of guys that are, super seniors, and Lacey and then DeJoun Terry. So those guys will be out of here after this first season coming up. So you're looking for all these guys to step up, the guys that you got coming in. But, they're going to continue to play the portal game as well. But I do feel like, yeah, you think that's going to happen, man? It could. Mars isn't getting blocked. Who's getting blocked? Hey, me too, man. Me too. I've got a PlayStation, but I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Might be a new way to go. Yeah, I think so too. I think you're probably right there. They're going to continue to push. You know what I mean? They're going to continue to make that push on that. In the trenches is where it really matters. I don't feel like the emphasis has been there. In offensively, they're continuing to recruit at the top. We can kind of go through and look at some of the stuff that we've seen out of these guys, but the emphasis has always been an offensive kind of way for Oklahoma. They've already got commitments from Elijah Thomas, wide receiver out of Chickasaw, Oklahoma. Now he's a 4-star, top 150 guy, according to On 3 as well. Then you've got Jaden Nickens, another 4-star, top 200 guy. Also, he's out of Oklahoma City Millwood. Of course, Kevin Sperry, he's, that 2025 stud quarterback going to be coming in for OU as well. They're going to continue to kind of push in that direction. But I do think that in the end, what you really have to do in the SEC is make sure that you are stacked at those positions on the D-line. Now, the question that I would have for a lot of us is whether or not, what is that going to mean for this new NIL structure? Because as you saw this past week on Friday, that ruling that came in the Tennessee and Virginia against the NCAA case, basically right now it's an injunction. But what that injunction says is now you cannot limit players from, or even the schools, from using NIL money as an inducement. An inducement means you can offer it to them up front. Now, we know that that's already been happening, but now you don't even have to try to do it under the table. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that this is not a good thing to have happen, that we're headed down kind of a bad track. What I would tell you is, I feel like the more you're starting to see these kind of things, I think I've started to believe that the less stuff you have to do shady and you can do it above the table and in front of everybody, the better. Because, and I'm not saying they don't need rules and guardrails and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm saying. What I am telling you is that right now the guardrails don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. I mean, you've got everybody just doing whatever, and the NCAA is at fault here anyway. They just kind of willy-nilly threw in these rules and allowed it because they knew they were in trouble when it came down to Justice Kavanaugh and the Supreme Court. In a situation that wasn't even really about that, he kind of hammered down on them saying, look, we're not going to your labor practices, quote unquote, are terrible. Right. I would just say that you have to continue to play that game for sure. But I would tell you that now the good news is that this is one of those deals that I think it's better. If they can finally get and understand what are the rules for everybody, and it's something that everybody can agree on throughout the country, then great. And you can't limit the kids to being able to, they can't make money doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. You open it up on the NIL side, there's a possibility whenever they figure out whatever they're going to do with this either new subdivision or if they're going to continue to expand and break away from the NCAA anyway, which I don't know why you wouldn't at this point. I mean, the NCAA literally has no power to really control anything. They've done nothing but kind of get in the way. And it always seems like they stick their head in when it's something that they shouldn't, right? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why you would even want to keep them around. I think the best chance that you have is for somebody like, hey, maybe Nick Saban to come in and be the, commissioner of college football, or, either that or you kind of do it with Greg Sankey or Tony Petitti or something. But the NCAA is kind of pointless at this point. They have lost every legal battle for years now, and there's a good reason for that. But the point is that you better get your house in order with your NIL. If you haven't already done that, you better start doing it. Now, the good news about Oklahoma is I believe that they're going to continue to do things the way that they do them right now. It's serving them well, doing the stuff with the Soul Mission, not wanting to get a bunch of guys that are committing without stopping, going everywhere else and taking visits and everything else. You don't want to see them change anything the way they are. But I would like to see them be a little more aggressive with saying, hey, if they know this guy's a fit, put the offer out there. Put that money out there. When you're talking about a guy like Michael Fasusi, you're talking about guys like, this other kid, the Ty Haywood, go get these guys. Go get these guys. They're who you got to have, particularly to protect your guys like, look, this offense should be very, very good. I think the only question would be, the question is on the O-line because of the fact that they lost pretty much all the starters from last year. Now you have some guys that return a lot of snaps. And I continue to say that I'm really not worried about anybody that Bill Bedenbaugh is putting out there because he puts these lines together quickly. He's able to identify and really get this talent together. So I'm not too worried about that. But if you can go and get these guys like that, you make it a little easier on him, right? You go get Fasusi, you go get Haywood. You already got a guy like Ryan Foji. Look at, with him getting EPL in this year, and then as well as the other kid from California. Hey, we're talking about they're building in the right places, right? Defensive line, offensive lines, where it's got to happen, right? All right, let's see. Roster after the spring, Millwood, your own school. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You don't have to do backroom deals anymore. And listen, I think that's a good thing. I think that all this stuff has fostered a culture of cheating in college football and in college sports forever. And it doesn't matter. I mean, let's not mix words here. Everybody's been doing it forever, right? You can go back all the way. I mean, of course, everything that happened with OU back in the 80s. Look at what happened with SMU back in the 80s, where they had the death penalty for the school after everything that they did with Eric Dickerson and Craig James and those guys, buying everybody freaking those Nissan cars. I mean, just these are times that you've seen them be just like completely out there, but don't think that this hasn't been going on. Don't think it wasn't going on at Alabama. Everybody knows the story about Derrick Henry. You know, but the thing is that, and this kind of shows you that this is the kind of thing that, you know, look, Coach Saban was probably tired of not, at this point, you know, they took away his advantage whenever all this kind of started. And he hadn't been able to really win one since then because, you know, right now it's the Wild West. But if you at least have it out there in the open and you don't have to do it like this and you don't put stupid rules that are it's just going to foster more cheating, then you have an opportunity to kind of control it, right? The point is that at some point you're going to have to find a way to get a contract for these kids that's going to hold them in, because if you want them to be able to stay around, which I know that's the thing that we talk about here a lot, like with Kim. I know that you know, you're one of those guys that way against it. I understand it. The point is that until you can get some kind of contract with them, whether it's an NIL or whatever it may be, you're never really going to control anything with these kids. They're going to be able to come and go as they please. You got to find a way to kind of do it the right way, incentivize them staying, you know, give them, hey, look, every year that you're there. So that's one of the ideas that I've liked the best. If you can show some of these guys, particularly the ones, your 5 stars and 4 stars, your 5 stars especially, they're probably going to be less inclined to sign long-term situations and stuff like that. But when you start getting into some of the other guys, and particularly at positions that they're not going to pop off the screen and demand huge NIL money, you know, they're not your Bronny Jameses of the world or your Arch Mannings, where automatically before they ever even take a snap that they're, you know, worth X amount of money according to On3. The rest of those guys, you know, hey, starting them off at $25,000, $30,000, and then next year it goes to 50, next year it goes to 75, whatever, or 100 or whatever. You know, if you can do some of those things, and because of the fact that the money that they're making from this playoff, they can, you know, there's some ideas out there, and they should do that. And the SEC and the Big Ten should care about doing that as well. That's something that they should be pushing these schools to do. You got to, if you're these TV, the television networks, you need to be telling, I heard this from Josh Pate a year ago. I'd be telling these conferences, get your damn house in order. We're paying enough money that we don't want to see all these guys moving around, and the sport is not as good as it was. Get your house in order, incentivize these kids hanging around somewhere and getting some development. Right now, it's been the Wild West, and you can't really blame the kids for leaving for money, because if they're not getting it one place, and particularly if you're not playing them, why the hell are they going to stay? You know, it kind of moves up the playing timeline, which I think with a lot of your 5-star guys, like a guy like Stoney, you better hope that you put his ass in the game pretty quick. And I would say the same thing for Jaden Jackson. There was a lot of people out there that were recruiting these guys. So the point I'm trying to make is that we don't understand we don't know what this looks like, because it's never looked like this before. The 12-team playoff, NIL, recruiting, you can move around as you damn well please at this point. You know, they'd already had the ruling earlier this year, and I think it was probably by that same judge, that said you can't keep them from going from one place to another if you're not playing them and all that stuff, because you're messing with their ability to make money in the NIL. If you're not going to pay them as an employee, you can't stop them from making money. Once you're 18, you're an adult. So that's a good thing, but it's just a lot of moving parts, and we're going to have to wait and see kind of what happens from here on out, you know? This is year 3. IRS will start looking at these kids' taxes. There'll be some in deep shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I think that they better learn how to do their taxes for sure. But that's the other thing that I feel like that's one of those things, Professor, that this is on the schools, this is on the conference to make sure that these kids understand how to do that stuff. That they, you know, that you're teaching them. And if you care about your team, you're going to make sure that, hey, you've got an agent, you don't have an agent. A lot of them do have agents now. Take care of that shit. make sure you're taking care of that. What are you getting paid for otherwise? You know? Yeah, I wouldn't be. I'm not at all. Yes. Yeah, Eugene Brooks. Hey, man, dude's going to be a stud, right? UGA McDonald bags. Yeah. I don't know that there's going to be a non-transfer clause, but I think there is going to be something similar. I think that you could sign an actual. You can sign them to some kind of a contract. If you're going to offer it to them, particularly before they choose your school, you can say, okay, well, we're going to offer you X amount of money. If you want to go ahead and make that official, sign that contract or whatever, but you got to be here within at least for a couple of years, right? And that's a good way to go at it. Seth is going to be great. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was Larry Fedora, man, that he worked under. I'd kind of forgotten about that, but Seth was. I've been watching some of his film too, and then the guy from SEC Unfiltered, he was looking at some of the North Texas tape, and I'd been watching it. I was watching a little bit of it last week, and he likes to run the football, man. He likes to run the ball, which is a good news. This is a good question, Jay. That's a really good question. Gabe Eichert was talking about this on Twitter today, asking, is there going to be an eligibility rule? Because I think that there's going to still, because of the fact that you are somehow connected to the school, you have to be eligible or be doing certain things to be able to do it. Now, do I believe that eligibility has been a real thing up until this point? Some instances, yes. Some instances, no. But to me, I think a lot of that's look, this is where your coaching staff needs to make its money. And when you have a culture of this is the way you want to do things, a lot of people are going to choose Oklahoma because of this staff. And this staff puts a priority on building you into a man ready to go out into the world, whether that's as an NFL prospect or not. The best thing that you can do, because look, what is it? 10% of these kids, is it even? It's probably not. There's a small percentage of college football players that are going to play in the NFL. It's not even 10%. It's more like 1. A very small percentage of guys that are going to play in the NFL. If you're not going into this knowing that you need to do some other things and get a degree while you're there, you might as well do it. And they make it so easy for these guys to do that. Hell, they don't have to necessarily be in the classroom. I mean, a lot of their stuff is right in the Switzer Center. Yeah. The Bama OC, yeah, the former tight ends coach. Yeah, I'm not too worried about all that. Capitalism. Here we go with Shouty. Shouty. Yeah, they better. They better. Sure. Well, but you don't want to see, and I think what they've been what professors talking about is you don't want to see. In order for you to do this, though, professor, a no compete clause, then you have to actually make them employees, and they're still not trying to do that. I think that's where it's headed at some point. It's not there yet, but until you actually make them a full employee, you can't do that no compete shit. That ain't gonna work. Look, the NCAA, or I shouldn't even say the NCAA anymore, but they're part of it at this point. But I promise you that college football, these schools do not want to pay these kids as employees. They don't want to do it. So, and if you're not going to do that, then you have to give up your rights to be able to control what they do as well, right? If all you're going to do is give them NIL money and do it in a weird way, and see, again, this is why I feel like the more you're seeing it to where you're getting these rulings against the NCAA, against, what they've been trying to push for all these years. And then you've got these crazy lawsuits coming out, for NIL for the past 30 years or whatever. They're going to hit. That's going to be a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit if they don't settle it. That's going to hurt them as well. They need to get their. This is where I say you got to get your freaking place in order. Get your house in order. If you're Oklahoma or you're Alabama or you're Georgia or whatever, you get your shit together, because if you really want to keep them around, you need to figure out how to do it. You need to incentivize keeping them around, not just saying, hey, we're the ones that recruited you. You belong to us. That's not the case. It's not the case. And it wouldn't be the case in anywhere else either. Right? What? They would have made NIL mandatory for those players receiving to be placed in a trust until which time the player graduates or is drafted. What? So they're just not supposed to get paid, Boomer 129, until they stay around? No. And again, as long as it's just NIL, I don't know how many other ways I can explain this, but as long as it's just NIL, that is not technically the school. The collectives some of these collectives are attached to a school, or they're doing it for your program. Like Crimson and Cream is obviously an Oklahoma collective, but you look at Nico Iamaleava, isn't that how you say Iamaleava? The quarterback there, all this stuff got started over him. He was signed by a national, it's like a national collective. They run the collectives for multiple programs across the country. And that was part of the thing that the NCAA was pissed about. A lot of these things are not really necessarily connected to a certain collective or whatever like that, particularly when you start getting into those kind of guys. Caleb Williams has a regular, Dylan Gabriel too. They have regular agents that are getting them, Caleb Williams had 3 national deals that he had working for him this past year, making millions on his stuff, but it had nothing to really do technically with USC. That's where you have to be. This is where, and I also think that this is kind of where, if you're Oklahoma or you're the Georgias of the world, is that your relationships are so important when it comes to that. This is where OU does a very good job, is that they're building relationships with these recruits that have a lot more to do with than just money, right? Yeah. Man, me too. Me too. I'm excited about that. Hey, Coach, what's up, man? Could Big Ten and SEC Alliance set their transfer rules? We haven't heard a bunch about what it is right now. I think right now they're trying to secure what they want this playoff to be as well. At the moment, I think that you're still kind of waiting for a lot of this to. Yeah, exactly. Not even local vendors, people like you and me. Professor, I know you probably donate to the collective there at Florida, do you not? I've been donating to Crimson and Cream for a year. All scholarship players, some more than others, but there will be a base pay. Yeah, and this is where, Coach, I was talking about that a few minutes ago, and we've talked about it before too, is that I think this is one of those things where you can incentivize particularly these kids that aren't going to, if you're not starting them right away, right? But you're getting them, they have an opportunity to play a little bit or whatever. I think that that's going to be a part of this too, because if it does limit their ability to make money if they're not on the field. So if you're not getting these guys on the field sooner than later, the chances are you could lose them. I think that the running back room is probably one of those key situations. I think you probably lose some of the guys out of the receiver room too, because it's getting so heavy at Oklahoma. These kids want to play, and if you're not playing them right away, you better be paying them a hefty amount, right? Arch Manning, he's probably not carrying a whole lot. I think a lot of it is that he trusts Sark and wants to play there. But the other part is that they paying his ass. He's like the number 2 guy in the country, number 2 or 3 in the country in NIL money, somewhere around in there. He's right up there as far as according to what his worth is, right? I wish you would freaking, yeah. Notre Dame going to the Big Ten. I've been hearing that too. Well, that's a good segue into what we've been talking about. Well, yeah. Well, look, the system is what it is, what we need to remember is, and all thing I would say to this, Dap, is look, blame the schools in the NCAA for this. Don't blame the kids. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. This is what happened because of the way they've done it, the way they have so many times, right? Got to be careful on distribution of funds. If a 2-year starter gets win than a freshman, yeah, look, better have your house in order, Kim. This is exactly why, look, we know that BV has been very reluctant to go too crazy on NIL stuff and how much they're paying guys and doing stuff like that. We know that there's the arm is behind. There's a lot of people behind the NIL collective stuff that are working hard to make sure that they can get the guys you're going to have to pay certain guys. Stoney wasn't coming for free, and neither was Nigel Smith, Jaden Jackson, Danny Okoye. They weren't coming for free. So it has to happen. But here's the deal. If you have to know that, look, some of these guys it is going to be about money, and not all these kids are going to be in a situation where it can't be about money. We can say, if you're thinking just about money, then we don't want you. That may not be the case. Some of these kids come from situations in their homes that they got to get out. They got to make some money. If they don't make money, they're screwed. Just recently, I was listening to what Ray Lewis has talked about it. Like, he went to the league the year he went to the league. He wanted to stay. They wanted him to stay at Miami. They were so broke, his mom had to move in with him in his apartment at Miami his junior year. So that's one of those things that, look, this is a thing where you have to know that this is not a situation that these kids can always just say, well, yeah, I'd love to, I'd love to come to Oklahoma, but I need you to pay me. I need money. And if you don't look at it on an individual basis, then you're not doing it the right way. And I'm not saying that Oklahoma's not. I'm saying that a lot of times we automatically put it on the kid about he's doing it this way or he's just money hungry or blah, 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 blah. Not that they shouldn't be. But, I mean, it's a balance. And, look, there are two sides to this thing, and the grown-ups in the room are the ones that fucked it all up. Not the kids, the grown-ups of the room for the last 30 years. Nick Saban talking about NIL force. Yeah, it forced Nick Saban in it. Well, he should have been one of those guys that was working to make it more fair for the players than it was for him and his career. Because, look, I have nothing but respect for Nick Saban. But cry me a freaking river. He owns these Lamborghini and big car dealerships. He's got more money than he'll ever need. He's playing golf with Tiger Woods and shit every day. Lives on an island right next to Tiger or whatever down there. Cry me a river. These coaches make a shit ton of money. Hey, thanks, Professor. Yeah. Look, I get it, bro. I get it. The collective. I'm doing like $10 a month at this point. You know what I mean? I think it's on everybody to do it, but that's the other thing. Why does it have to be on the fans of the program who are paying more in ticket prices every year? Right now for 2 tickets, season tickets for the first year in the SEC, you're looking at like $3,500, and that's not even. And this is obviously on the secondary market, but that's not even including what it's going to go. That doesn't include the Texas game. Just for your home game, so you're looking at like 2 tickets, $3,500. And if you're just buying single game tickets, think about that. What do you think it's going to cost for a single game ticket when it gets close to Alabama if both teams are still in the running for the playoff, the SEC championship, whatever? You're probably looking at $500-$600 up at least, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dabble doesn't like NIL either. Yeah. Yeah. It has always been the case, but it hasn't always been correct, right? You got your season tickets. Okay. How many did you get, Boomer? Yep. It costs more than Steeler tickets, bro. No kidding. I forgot. I saw the whenever on JJ's show the other night you were on there. So you live in Pittsburgh? Look, and well, I don't necessarily blame you there. Yeah. Well, for now it is because they got a new coach and nobody really trusts that they're going to be what they are. And they lost a lot of guys, but they still got a lot of talent. I'm going to tell you this. Kalen DeBoer's won with less talent. He's won with less talent. They didn't have that kind of talent at Washington last year. Now, they had a great quarterback and great receivers. They had 3 unbelievable receivers, plus a really good tight end too. But, again, he's only got 13 losses in his career. One of them was in the national championship game. So, okay, you've got 4 of them? Oh, shit. So you're probably – so what is – you just ballpark it for me. You were about $5,000 for those probably at least, right? Not in the SEC. He hasn't. Hey, man, Professor, thanks again for the super chat, my man. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, mamas and uncles messed it all up. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they will. This is the best time to get Bama. Absolutely. But I look, that's what's going to – I think it's not really going to be a coaching thing that's going to bother Kalen DeBoer. I think it's whether or not he can really get into this to the recruiting side of things, because you got to be a hell of a recruiter to be in the SEC. You just have to be, And, again, a lot of that's going to have to do – Okay. So break that down. Yeah, breaking that down by 4, it's like $1,800 a piece. Yeah. Hey, Nebraska is that is an overused freaking statement by people. Nebraska, it ain't going to be Nebraska. They're still going to continue to be able to recruit there. Yeah, but that's for 4 tickets, right? So but yeah, $1,800 a pop. So I'm thinking about it. If Boomer was to sell some of them on the secondary market, it's going to be some money. But I was looking on Facebook on one of the groups the other night, and there's a couple of guys that were selling them lower bowl, but they were usually right around for 2 tickets. I think they were charging, I think it was like $3,500, $2,500, $3,500. We won't tell. Yeah. Well, would you be? I think that's when they I don't know. I think that DeBoer's I think he was a good choice. I think it's going to be hard no matter who you are to take over for Nick Saban. I mean, the guy won 7 national championships, six in 17 years, and played for how many more that he didn't win? I mean, that's real deal. Copenhagen, this is what I've been talking about. Right. Look, but again, I think a lot of that falls back on you really have to say, look, this is where it's time for the schools to take responsibility for that instead of putting it off on us, the fans who are donating to collectives or whatever it is. Look, and buying tickets and all that other shit. Instead of putting that on them, you just got these, look, SEC teams are starting off at 70 million this year with the new playoff. It's only going up. It'll be 100 million by the end of this deal, and it'll be well more than that probably afterwards. There's no reason why you can't afford to make it worth their while to hang around. And again, and one of the other things that we would be remiss to not say that sometimes the coaches want them to leave. It's not working out for whatever reason. The coaches make them go sometimes. They tell them to leave. We've seen that at OU. Sooner in Texas says we get Bama at the end of the season. They have time to make adjustments. We'll get the best version of Bama. Yeah. I don't think you're wrong. Unless they have kind of stumbled at that point, and maybe, it just kind of depends on what their mentality is at that point. Can he hold them together mentally, with such swooping changes? I think that the problem, what you have to worry about if you're Alabama is Jalen Milroe the guy. Because he's not a great thrower. I mean, he's a great athlete. I think he's one of the best athletes in the country. He doesn't throw the ball that well, though. Wow. That's good stuff, man. But I do think that, a lot of this stuff is going to be what it is. Yeah. He's got a guy that they brought in that he had got to commit to Washington last year, and he'll be, he'd be a first-year guy or whatever, but he can fling it. I'm forgetting his name, but he's a stud. LSU. Oof, that was going to be a tough one, right? Yeah, I don't think he is either. And I think that's the tough part about it is that the quarterback deal, I mean, they got that stud receiver coming in. I think he was Mr. Football in Alabama the last 2 years, 5-star plus guy, stud, man. Yeah. Well, it's all narratives, right? It's like anything else in the country. It's all about narratives. You start thinking about what gets said as to whether what's real versus what you're told is real. And that could be any part of it. And we're not going to get into politics, but think about politics. What you hear and what the truth isn't always, it never lines up at this point, right? Yeah, they're studs, man. They're studs. Again, let's not doom and gloom it. I think everything's going to be fine. And I love the way that this staff is working it. It's not, they want it to be more than about money. And if they're the kids that they're targeting and that they're getting, it is more than just about money, right? Some of them needed to get paid. You had to do it, right? That goes for Jackson Arnold. That goes for Taylor Tatum. That goes for Stoney. PJ, I don't know how much they needed for him or whatever, but look, at some point, you just have to understand that this is going to be the way that it is. It's not a doom and gloom thing. They're going to adjust. You know, the people that want to say that college football is dying and it's going to be semi-pro or whatever, you hear a lot of that from the Big 12 fan that's left over that's still talking about, oh, I'll just break away and we'll do our own thing. That's not what they want either. You know, you hear them saying it, but those are coming from like Okie Light fans, you know, that they don't want to have to play to win championships against somebody who's real. But the idea that it's ever going to be about just competition and not about money and all that stuff, I mean, that's out the window. And again, like you said, Copenhagen, it's always been about money too for some of these kids. Always has been. You know, it just is what it is. Yeah, I think they will, man. Yep, you're right, Mom. Well, when you come in and you take over a program like Coach Venables was talking about last year, how he didn't clean house like that in his first year. He gave them a year to like prove themselves to stay. That's all well and good, but if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're like, shit, we went 6-7. You shouldn't have, you know? Okay. Yeah, I've seen something like that where they have it's, you know, not the same scale, but yes, I would say that. Some guys are going to make more than others. It's fine. And you don't want to you're not going to get into bidding wars with a lot of those guys either, right? What's up, T? How's it going? How you feeling? Ooh. Third row, 50-yard line, UK at Florida, 12.25 after taxes and fees. And that's for Kentucky. Dang. Bruh. Yeah. The flex bone. I like Orca's always talking about the flex bone. I can't wait to see a little bit of that myself. Yeah, I was watching part of that day. He got you talk about, see, we were 10 years away from NIL and shit like that when Manziel was there, right? Damn near 10 years away. I mean, he was talking about that they were talking what did he say, $200 million or some shit like that they were talking about? Unbelievable. You know, and this is a kid, and not only that, but they were like taking money. They were acting like he was so rich, but he was actually borrowed money from his grandpa to like show this and that so that he could get more money. And he said all the times that they thought he was out partying and all that stuff, that he was actually like signing footballs and doing shit like that, which was against the law at that time. But it became about money to him quick. Good Lord. I hope they are, T. That's crazy. Still praying for you. Flex almost fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, yeah. Again, we don't have to stay on this stuff, but the truth is that really, I know a lot of times we're kicking and screaming about, you know, that this is changing what we know about college football, and I get it. Some of it sucks, right? In the end, I think that if the further they get from the old model of, you know, we're going to give some to some people and none to everybody else, and it's certainly got to be under the table kind of stuff. That's where they were really fostering a system of cheating. And we're talking college football, college basketball. Think about every great coach that you can remember. And that goes all the way back. Look, I'm not saying anything bad about Coach Knight. I don't know anything for sure. What I do know is that even there at Texas Tech, they were paying players on football, basketball team. Andre Emmett was like the best player that Coach Knight ever got at Texas Tech, right? There's no way he's at Texas Tech without something. And Knight may or may not have known about it. I would say the same thing about Duke. Why do you think Duke all of a sudden becomes a powerhouse program at one point when they never had been? And all of a sudden they're a powerhouse with Coach K. Great coach. But don't get it twisted and think some of those kids weren't there for Elton Brand and Corey Maggetti's of the world and some of those other guys. They were getting paid. The whole Fab Five, remember the Fab Five from Michigan? Shit, we know they were getting paid. UNLV, all those, I can think of all these big time programs that we were just like, wow, right? Football and basketball. Those Miami teams, think about those Miami teams. The one when they were winning, why were they winning? You know? Same with Florida. This is how it is. UT used to be the king and not getting caught, right? Yeah, he's probably not that happy. Love you too, T. Hey, you out of here? We don't have to keep talking about this. Notre Dame talk. Here's the thing about that. I'm not as big of a. I wasn't a warrior as much about that as a lot of people were about them not being able. Now, I think that their hand has been forced that, hey, you could be number one in the country, be undefeated, and you're not going to get you're not going to get one of those first round buys or be one of the top seeds. Which even if it ends up doing a 14 team, and we can talk a little bit about that too. They've already, they approved the 12 team and they went to the 5-7 format, right? Where you've got 5 automatic qualifiers for whatever. No, you're not going to win a natty without paying. Hell no. Yeah. Yeah, but sooner, hey, here's the thing. Even Darryl Royal got to a point where he wasn't okay with it anymore. He was sick of the shit. I've heard stories about when Eric Dickerson was like, man, you're going to have to bump it up, coach. Got to bump it up. And he was like, man, we're now supposed to freaking just, find money for these kids that haven't done shit yet. Now, the Eric Dickerson stayed up, We need a coach video for that. Yeah, we should get a coach video for that. He's been busy though, man. I think tonight was the last playoff game for them. Maybe their last playoff game. We're going to have to find out. If they won, then they'll move on and play again. But it looks like it may be the end of their season tonight. He should definitely be back by next week or whatever. Yeah. The media deal's already done. So I think that kind of makes it. I'm not positive that you don't end up seeing them in the SEC. I know the Big Ten is probably, and Coach said it, that it's going to be the Big Ten. And it makes the most sense because of geographically. I'm just telling you, I would not be stupid surprised if they ended up in the SEC. I wouldn't. And the reason for that being is that, hey, that anti-Catholic thing that was going on for a long time, when they were trying to join the Big Ten a long time ago, there's still a lot of people that will never forget about that. Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is that at this point, but if you're being put at a competitive disadvantage, and they're at a time that it looks like they really care, right, about getting into the playoff and being able to maybe win a national championship. You're seeing that, they're recruiting better than they ever have that I can remember. Marcus is doing a great job, but they're already right up there. What the hell? I don't know what that means, Meerkat. Hey, Neilio. What's up, man? Good Tuesday evening, everybody. $5 super chat from Neilio. Thanks, Neil. We appreciate you, bud. Good to see you. Yeah, Marcus has been getting dogs. He's doing a great job. He's in there on a lot of players that they weren't in on before, you know. I think that, but if it's putting you at a competitive disadvantage now because you can't get one of those in the 12-team playoff, you're looking at 4 buys. He'll never get one, even if he's undefeated and number 1 in the country going into the thing. Which, I mean, their schedule this year doesn't say that they should lose much. You know, what's up, chicken? There he is. Where you been, man? Yeah. That's an old sore spot too. That SEC used to be really pissed off at FSU because of Coach Bowden. He was very open and upfront of why the hell should I go to the SEC when I go to the Orange Bowl every year, right from here. You know, crazy stuff. Chicken. Cooking food and chilling. What are you cooking, man? Oregon going to shock the Big Ten next year, though. Look, talent-wise, they should, except for Ohio State look, they bought in. They decided to go all in on their money, you know, with the NIL stuff. Imagine that it takes the athletic director from Texas A&M to show up, and then they automatically start doing it. I think that tells you more than anything how Ryan Day's feeling the heat. You got to be, right? If you're not at this point. Norm, that fucker. He's crazy, man. Let's see. Ugh, brutal, man. That's a brutal schedule. DG going to light up Ohio State. Ohio State already, they added to that really good secondary as it was. I think that's hopeful. Look, I'd love to see Ohio State fall on their face. I can't stand them, but they're good on defense. They're good on defense. That's a long walk, brother. Appreciate it though. Yeah. No, I think, but I do think, and we will get Coach to talk more about this and stuff, but I think that in the end, even if they go to 14, and I think that's a real conversation that's going on right now. And if you think about this, there's a couple of reasons why they want to do that. I was thinking, would one of those, you know, when we were talking about it last week, I was thinking, is this a possibility that 13 and 14 is going to be a playoff game? Or a play in to the 12 or whatever. I didn't even think of it in terms of, honestly, what happens at the back of the line. They don't really give a shit about that. What I think it really comes down to, absolutely, we do. I do. I'm a fan of DG. I got another question about DG in a minute. When it comes down to it, though, here's what I really think. First off, I think that the Big Ten and the SEC, they want guaranteed 4. They want a guaranteed 4 in the playoff. Call it what you will on that, okay? So they want, that would be 8 teams out of 12, or in this case, 14. But if they add those other 2, then they can definitely get that. I think they're going to get 4 anyway. I think they're probably going to get 8 in anyway. But I think there could be some years that you see them kind of feasting on each other. I think that this year could be one of those kind of years, because as much as here's Georgia, and you know how I feel about Texas. I'm not going there. But you got Georgia, Texas, but you've got Ole Miss. Everybody loves Mizzou. I don't have a clue why. Look, The people that they're talking about being up there, LSU, Tennessee, Oklahoma, there's a lot of schools that, yeah, I think that in the end of the year, you're going to see Georgia's going to be right up there. I'm not positive about really anybody else. Texas should be because of their JV schedule, but will they be? I don't know. Everybody that loves Quinn so much, and by the way, tell High Top I was saying this. I need to get High Top on the show on Thursday, but High Top talk about how much he likes Quinn Ewers. Dude, come on. The dude's fragile. In any event, let's say those two guys are up there, but you could see some losses when they start playing each other. And I'm talking all the way around. Ole Miss may finally win an important game. Are they going to win 3 of them? Probably not. As much as I like Oklahoma, they're not going undefeated in this thing. And I really don't think that Georgia is either. They've got one of the tougher schedules in the SEC. They could go undefeated. But their unknowns are on the defensive side. They're not bringing back a bunch of guys that played a lot last year. On the defensive side of the ball, offensively, they're losing some guys too. Now they got their quarterback coming back, and I like Beck. Oh yeah, brother. The LSU. Oh yeah, I'm coming. I'll be there. I'll be there for that. They're going to get 4, but I think that the reason that they're going to get to 4, that's what they're trying to do. And the other thing is this, I think that what they're trying to do is secure. I don't remember where I was hearing this, but it made a hell of a lot of sense. I think what they're trying to do is they don't want to see the Big 12 with a 2 or 3 loss team as a conference champion getting a bye. If you go to 14, you only end up with 2 byes. And I think they want to make sure that the SEC champion and the Big 10 champion get the bye week. They get the number 1 seeds, no matter what. I think that it makes a ton of sense to do that. There you go. You tell Christina I'll be there. She better be there. Right. No, he did not. Yep. Agreed. If Florida gets to 9-3, they deserve to be in the playoff with that damn schedule. They're playing a Florida State team that everybody's in love with at the end of the year. If they win that game, and let's assuming that, they've stayed healthy enough, DJU's been playing good. They're in a position to get into the playoff, and Florida was to win that game. Even their game think about the Miami game. Cam Ward, that may be the key to that for Miami. Now, Cristobal is going to have to actually do some shit in order for me to buy into him, but there's no reason why they shouldn't be good. Yeah. Yes. Miami, UCF, FSU, and non-conference. 3 out of 4. Those are tough freaking games. Plus, they got on the road at Texas. You got the Georgia game, obviously, every year. But then, it's one of the. I don't think I've ever seen a schedule like that, ever. And if you're looking at it, I mean, there's probably which one of those non-con games are they going to be favored in? Any of them? Maybe UCF? Love it. I said something about that earlier. Boomer Sooner. Screw Okie Light. And what a way to freaking take their heart in the game, in the men's game. I mean, dude was like, if you were watching that game, you're probably like me going, what are you doing? What? Pass the ball. What? No. Yes. What a shot, though. What a shot. That dude he was all on it. I don't get the hype either, bro. There you go. And the whole thing is, and it's hilarious to me that you have Texas fans and Missouri fans, but I don't give a shit about Missouri fans. but Texas fans they're talking shit about DG, or I mean about Jackson. They were talking shit about DG all last year until they got beat by him, right? Stupid shit. Mm-hmm. Hey, beating them down like a Houthi. Hey, you just won. You just won the comment of the night, chicken. Beating them down like a Houthi. That's hilarious. I love it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they are. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Look, they made the playoff last year. But that idea that they're so far ahead of everybody, I don't get it. And again, you know, I will say this about High Top from the show that he had last night, and he was talking about, look, what was Florida State the year before they went 10-2, which was 2 years ago, right? They were like, what, 6-6 or something like that? You know, teams go from 500 or below to 10 wins. That's the next step up. Now, what's the odds of them doing that at Florida? It's tough, man. But they do have a second year for a quarterback. I don't know how much I like Mertz, but, you know, and maybe Lagway's ready to go midseason or something if they're making a run and something happens and Lagway's kind of figuring it out because he's a stud. Maybe they can win 8-9 games. I'm close. I'm more apt to say they may get above 500 than I am to see them winning 9 games. That's just because of that schedule. But that being said, it is Florida. It is Florida, man. And I don't really see why everybody loves Texas so much when they had to replace so much. Everything that we're hearing about why Jackson Arnold isn't going to be the guy this year is because he's never been a starter. Okay. Well, what about all these other guys that haven't been starters or they haven't played at Texas? You know, you lost your defensive line and your defensive line coach. They lost most of their secondary that wasn't very good to begin with last year. It's almost a whole new defense. Yeah, they've done great recruiting, but it's a bunch of young guys. It's a bunch of young guys. And they were soft. Everybody talks about how they beat up Alabama in the trenches. They didn't beat up Oklahoma in the trenches. The narrative going into Red River Week was what? Think about it. They continuously said that they were going to beat the shit out of OU in the trenches. They were going to beat, and that Dylan Gabriel wasn't worth the shit. He had never done anything against big talent. Wrong on both fronts. The receiving core, most of them are coming back. The guys that they're adding are just as good as Isaiah Bond. Look at, the guy that they got in the transfer portal, Deion Burks, everybody, including Texas, really wanted that dude. Right? Really wanted that dude. I don't think that there's anybody that's going to be able to, and right off the bat, I'll say this, who the hell is going to freaking cover Devon Mitchell? Who's going to do it? 6'5", 250? Stud. Yeah, I don't get it, man. Yeah. Again, hey, you got to love it if you're OU, though, because if the expectations aren't that high and they can sleep on you, then go kick their ass. Look, the other side of it is it's time for them to step up as Oklahoma. If you're an Oklahoma football team, and they are hearing it, if you watch Red Dirt Media and those guys, I mean, you know, Nick and those guys, they were talking about it, that they're getting slept on and hated. Yeah. True. Yeah, Devon Mitchell's a stud. Who's gonna cover the guy? Nobody can cover Nick. If Andrew Anthony's anywhere close to what he was last year, the guy's already been a stud for multiple years. He's played in the playoff. He's been in 2 playoffs. He's won a freaking or he's caught a championship in a playoff, or caught a touchdown in a playoff game. You know, Farouk, hold on to the football, bro. He's a stud. You know, Brennan Thompson, JA's got that big arm. You can't overthrow him. I don't even think it's possible to overthrow Brennan Thompson. The guy's runs a 10-1-100. Jacobs Petaway hasn't really gotten his opportunity. Jaden Gibson better get some opportunities this year. The guy he didn't catch hardly any footballs, and he had fucking 5 touchdowns. Stud, bro. Absolutely, bro. You know you're welcome anytime. Anytime, bro. Yep. That's right. Absolutely. Outrun a bullet. Kind of like how you were, chicken, huh? Hey, man, dude, I've been trying to think about if I could remember a wide receiver room that was that deep. I mean, look, and I mean, every time we start talking about guys, I forget about dudes. Here's another thing. What about what if the other guy from Red Dirt, the tight end, is fully healthy and ready to rock and roll? Because Nick keeps saying he's going to be the man at tight end. Then they got the kid that came in from, that was the quarterback. What's his name? Why am I forgetting that cat's name? Forget his name. Anyway, I mean, look, guys. Yeah. Bro, Jay Gibson's a stud, bro. 6'6", and he got an attitude about him towards as the year went on, right? I think he's going to be a force to mess with. Yeah, I don't know if Bass is going to be ready to go. Yeah, I mean, they say he's recovering quickly and faster than he should. I don't know that you mess with. He tore up his entire knee, right? I just don't know that you really do that. But I'll tell you, Xavier Robinson, that's the dude that is wow. But on top of that, Gavin Sawchuk, the way he looked last year, and look, we could still see a lot out of Javante Barnes too. That's a deep room. It's a deep room. We haven't seen Khalib Hicks yet. I mean, that guy looks ready, and he was a stud at Denton Ryan. A stud. We didn't get to see a lot of him last year. There's a lot of guys that you're going to work some of that out probably in the spring, and I think that you're probably going to do the same thing in the receiver room. But look, good offensive coordinators, even if you have a little bit of, maybe a weak spot or two on that offensive line, first off, Big Bill will find ways to get that shored up. They'll do what they have to do with certain schemes and stuff like that. But when it comes down to all of that stuff, there's so many weapons that you don't have to have Jackson hold on to the football very long. Run the ball. If you can get them running the ball well, or even just, hey, hit some of those quick passes. But what I was saying about seeing some of that North Texas film, what I saw a lot of was them running the shit out of the football. And really good, some of that old, the guy from SEC, what was it? SEC Unfiltered. He was talking about that it kind of reminded him of the wing tee, and it reminds me a lot of the wing tee, some of their blocking schemes that they had, where you're pulling centers and stuff like that and having them, pull and go, seal off of, those kind of runs and stuff. Look, they got enough running backs to get it going. And if you need a guy that can break tackles, Xavier Robinson's already 240 freaking pounds. Stud, straight stud. Taylor Tatum, he's going to be able to get you wherever that was. Yep. Arm talent is unbelievable. And he's moving to 11 again. He's getting his number back after he got it because Davis Bevel left the program. I love Robinson. I think he may not get a ton of play just because of where the room's at, but then again, he might. If he turns into that guy that you get, look at Tawi wasn't really expected to be, one of your bell cow backs, and you needed his ass last year. You needed him because he was that hard runner between the tackles. You're going to get that out of this kid. You are. No, I'm not really worried. I think you probably lose some of these guys. I think you probably lose a few. Yeah, I mean, if they're seeing the writing on the wall that they're deciding to leave, again, you got to remember that some of them might be getting pushed out. Yeah. See, yeah, what exactly, man. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, he's gonna eat. Look, there's only so many footballs. There's only so many guys that you can put back there. And again, in this day and age where you can move around freely, you can't really blame them for taking off if they're not getting looks. And with a guy like, say, Hicks, I think that there's a chance you see a lot of Hicks. And if Barnes doesn't bounce back, because last year that injury was nagging on him, I think. So we never really saw what we saw from him as a freshman. If he comes back healthy, he may be that guy again. Gavin Sawchuk, it's another health thing with him. If he's healthy, he's unbelievable, right? You're going to get something out of Taylor Tatum. You are. Because he's just that dude. He's big. He's fast. He's just that electric dude. There's not a lot of guys like Taylor Tatum. There's just not. But if you're a guy like Khalib Hicks and you don't start getting some carries this year, and this is your second year in town, you might want to take off somewhere. Yeah, I like Sawchuk a lot, but he's been another guy that, little bit fragile, right? Another thing I would remember is now you're going into year 3 with Schmitty again. A lot of these guys that have had some injury issues, maybe that doesn't happen as much anymore because they've been in his system for longer, right? I think a lot of that's going to be a lot to do with it, right? Yeah, it is. And Javonte, from what I know, from what I hear from like coming out of Vegas and stuff like that, because that's where he's from, is that he still loves it out there. He's a fan, and I think he's still good with the situation. But that can change in a heartbeat when you're not getting playing time and you feel like you're the guy, right? And you're also, some of these guys start looking over their shoulder, whether they should be or not. Once you start looking over your shoulder, it could be time for you to go. You know what I mean? It just, some guys do very well with competition. Some don't. I hope he does, man. Yep. Hey, Stephen G, this would be comment 1A. Absolutely. I feel like this is the year, we talked about it in that video that I made. The defense is what, as much as we're talking about this offense, right? And the only reason I really started talking about the offense is because you keep hearing stupid shit from everywhere, and this is their excuse for hating on Oklahoma. The Barrett Sallee thing, talking about they don't have the Heisman caliber quarterbacks. What are you talking about? Michael Hawkins may be a little underrated, but I mean, if you watched him in the playoffs last year in Texas, 5A, they lost to South Oak Cliff, who'd won already back-to-back, and they win it again. But he had 55 touchdowns, and he had less than 5 turnovers on the season. Over 1,000 yards rushing, 3,500 yards passing. Unbelievable. That's not a Heisman caliber quarterback. He runs a sub 4.5. His dad was a 12-year NFL veteran. Get out of here. Stupid narratives. And people don't even hold their feet to the fire about shit like that. Yeah, that's a question. I was kind of wondering what we're going to see out of Lewis Carter. Yeah, Kobe McKenzie's probably one of those guys. I don't think Kip's going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, but yeah, let's get to this defense part. That's the thing that I would say is that, look, they've got more production coming back. Billy Bowman is that dude. Look, if we see, what's the name? Gentry Williams. If Gentry can stay healthy, and then we really want to see Peyton not get nicked up at the end of this season like he did the second half of last year. Peyton Bowen wasn't around much. He was hurt. When that dude was on the field, always good things happening, right? That's what you're hoping for, right? But you've got more guys back there. I think you're going to see things out of Makari Vickers. I think Josiah Wagner. You know, we saw where one of my favorite episodes that Jay and them did was with the one they did with Kendall Dobie. That dude's a dog, right? And you're hoping that you're going to see Justin Harrington come back and play Cheetah. But if not, you've got your Cheetah right there. You've got your Cheetah. I think you probably see Deshaun McCullough move to more of a, hey, let him just be an edge guy. Right? He got better at coverage as the year went on, but he said himself on that podcast that he hadn't ever really been a man guy. You know? But I'm telling you, who you talking about, Barrett Salee, or are you talking about Michael Bratton? Because I don't think much of him either. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, that's the other thing I'll say this. Okay, yeah, keep talking about this defense. Let's keep talking about that. Think about this for a second. You've got Billy coming back. Obviously, Stutzman coming back. We're talking about guys that are, preseason All-America types. Again, if you can keep some other guys healthy, Kanak needs to make a move, and he needs to not, hey, get out of your head, Jaron, and go play football, because we know what kind of talent you have. Quit screwing it up. But you're going to see things. I think Lewis Carter has an opportunity to contribute this year. Sammy O, I mean, that's another top 100 guy, on the one of those defensive top 100 guys. Samuel Omosigo is an unbelievable athlete. If he's getting it, you're going to start seeing something out of him. But Josiah Wagner and Makari Vickers, I think that you've really, Woody, I think, is kind of signaling that he may be feeling that a little bit from those young guys at the corner positions, because he was talking about moving in to play more of a nickel type of deal, right? I like Woody. I don't think that he's an athlete on the level that Makari Vickers is, or Kendall Dobie, or Josiah Wagner. For as small as he is, that dude's a dog too, right? And I just feel like this is where they're headed. They've got a lot of guys that, not even necessarily starter wise, but that got some time last year. Now you're going to see more out of them. PJ, if you don't see that dude starting by first couple of games, I'm gonna be asking questions, because I can't imagine why you wouldn't be. I just can't. PJ's got to be a play. He's got to be in. You got to have him playing, right? Ethan Downs, fine. Put him on the other side. I don't care. But then again, look, I want the best dude in, the guy that's going to actually get home. And Ethan hasn't been the guy to do that all the time. He's good. I think he's good. I think that, and he said, PJ Adebawari is on another level. He's on another level. Those dudes step up. We see something from G-Baby. DeJoun Terry and Jacob Lacey come in and they're healthy. If we get a little bit from Trace Ford needs to do a better job of sealing that edge, and he also needs to do a lot better job of. I think that a lot of it is he struggled with understanding that defense as well a little bit, and he still had some injury problems last year, and that's always been Trace's problem, right? But that's where I also feel like you can put Deshaun McCullough in and let him go be an edge rush guy. If Kendall Dobie's good to go at Cheetah or Justin Harrington stays healthy and he's good to go, what do you need him there for? You don't. Yeah. Wear everybody out, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Then we can start talking about, and look, Nigel Smith could play inside or outside. That's what's really good about him. He's an inside or outside guy. He's explosive. But then you start talking about the defensive tackles. If you're not working Jaden Jackson and Stoney into that rotation, which you know they have to be, it's got to happen, right? Because you're not going to get by with two dudes or even three guys. You need to have 5 or 6 guys rotating in the 2 and 3 technique spots. You got to. It's just got to be the way that it is. Because, and not even just that, but attrition's going to tell you that. You know, there's going to be some injuries at times this year. Guys, they're playing in the SEC where it's the hardest place in the world to be in the trenches. You know, it's just got to be happy. But I think G-Baby has an opportunity to step up. Look, he's had 2 years now with Schmitty, and it's time for him to kind of step up there. I would say, you know, there's some other guys. Look, there's a lot of guys. We could look at the depth chart here, but I would just tell you that I really feel like you're looking at a situation where these guys are in a lot better shape this year than what we've seen them in the past. Hey, that's exactly what Professor's been saying. Professor's been saying that all year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I hope so, man. They just hired a new coach, so we'll see. Ethan has his moments, but that's all. Yeah, look, I like Ethan a lot, man. He's, you know, he gets a soft spot for us, and him, Stutzman, and Billy, and Woody, they're the last guys left from Lincoln Riley, right? You got to appreciate their dedication to the Oklahoma program and not just to Lincoln, right? They've never wavered in that. They've been about OU. You know, I love that about them. In the end, the truth is they were the only ones that were probably good enough to hang around too, when it all boils down to it. Yeah. That little something is called speed and freaking wingspan. Shit. Mm-hmm. Can't miss All-American. Oh, yeah. He's going to be an All-American. And hey, that's where I think Miguel Chavis needs a lot more love than what he's been getting at times too. I'm going to have to echo Jay on that when he was talking about that earlier, is that we didn't talked enough about what he's at. Some of those other guys that he brought in, you know, Taylor Wine, the kid from Tennessee that nobody really knew about, and then all of a sudden there he is, and he looks like he's there, which I have been hearing about that. I have been. That's why I said it's his time to step up, man. It's his time to step up. About Deshaun, what about Deshaun? What are you hearing about that? About Lacey? What? Speak up. All he needs a field goal kicker. Yeah. I think G Baby's gonna be a stud. You know, somebody I've when we talked to Nigel Smith last year, who was he talking about right away? That he saw G Baby as being that dude. And that was before he was really playing. Hey, Mars Jams, this is 1B. No more Gavin Freeman. No more Gavin Freeman. Mm-hmm. Oh, y'all did? Yikes. That's tough. Okay. It's possible. I mean, well, in a will linebacker, that's a lot of times that's going to be one of those guys that's going to be a rush guy, the weak side outside linebacker, particularly if you're running a 3-3-5. It's basically another defensive end. I can see that. They're gonna. I mean, and they play in multiple. You saw a lot last year where they were running like a 4-2-5, or you know what I mean. A lot of times they're running a 4-2-5. They run a lot of 3-3-5. But the thing is when you're running a 3-3-5, that's better to go up against those really heavy pass offenses. But you got to be nasty on the D line then. So I think a lot of times particularly if you're up against a team that's going to be heavy run, you got to run like a 4-2-5. You got to try to be able to get some stops in the running game. You're going to see a lot of that, I think. Yeah, but again, I think that a lot of these positions are a little bit fluid, right? And the truth is, Stutzman was at his best when he played middle linebacker. Because he really was the middle guy, the guy calling the defense. Because Kanak, they love having him there as the, quote, middle guy. But he didn't know, he's not getting anybody in order and ready where they need to be. Stutzman runs that defense. So whether that is, and a lot of these, again, these positions are kind of fluid. It's kind of, I think about basketball these days. It's more of a positionless game than it ever was. Even big guys are freaking playing more like guards and stuff like that. They just play. It's a different game than it used to be. And it's the same in football and particularly on these defenses. A lot of these defensive end guys, the rush guys, they're more built for speed than they are for, run stopper kind of guys. A guy like Deshaun McCullough, he's never going to be 280. Never, ever, ever going to happen. Right. But the dude was in the damn backfield for 4 straight plays against Texas last year. Whenever that's what they needed to do on that goal line situation. He was back there making plays. You want guys that could get into the backfield. The problem with Ethan Downs is what? He don't have enough speed. He's not getting home. He's strong, but he's not getting home. That's why I felt like that. I do feel like he would be better, more moving in instead of being like an edge rush guy, because he just doesn't get home very often. Right, definitely. Cover a tight end instead of a slot receiver. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I you know what, I heard that, but I've also heard that he's been looking better and feeling better lately too. So unless this is something that just came across the last week or so, the last thing I'd heard about Jacob Lacey is that he was looking a lot better. Look, there was a reason. I mean, he didn't play his last couple of years at Notre Dame either. He's been struggling with some injuries. Coach will tell you about him. They loved him, and he was really good there. I mean, they were recruiting him to Clemson when he went to Notre Dame. But one of those deals, right? Yep. I think so too. And he's not a huge size guy, but in some situations, you don't have to be the big dude. But he's strong enough, and I get it. But I still feel like, here's what I think about Ethan. I think he's really good. I don't see him as like a Sunday guy. I just don't. I not at edge for damn sure. Right? I just don't see that out of Ethan. Some of these other guys are going to play on Sundays. So that's where I'm at with that. Right. No, he does. And I'm not hating on Jaron so much, except for the fact that, look, man, he was lost a lot, chicken. You said it. When we were in Cincinnati, what were we talking about? That he was damn lost all the time. And it continued. There were times he was really good, and he was good in that game. Really good in that game. And then he got hurt or whatever. But look, there were times that he got in his head too much, and it athletically, yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of guys that are going to be better than Jaren Kanak. He could play on Sundays athletically, but he's got to get it going on up here. That's just as important as anything. Ooh, bro, are you sure about that? Those are big. Those are pretty high level comparisons, man. I don't know. Okay. But he was there year 1 to year 2. He didn't make that jump. He's got to make it from 2 to 3. Maybe he does. But he played some in year 1 of under BV. He didn't, you know. Yep. Kanak's going to take a huge step. It was all mental for him. Hey, look, I hope that that's the truth. What I also hope is that if he doesn't, that they stop screwing around with it and they get the guys in that are going to make the step. Sammy O, I don't think you want to screw around with Lewis Carter. That guy is a talent that, you know, if he's ready, you need to play him. You need to play him. Yeah. Cody got sacks. No, you're right. You're right, Shotty. No doubt about it. You got to have multiple guys like that. And they do have them. How are you going to win, though? How are you going to win in the SEC? You're going to do it with defense. And this is where, you know, Shotty ain't going to like hearing this, but this is where Oklahoma is probably better than Georgia this year is on the defensive side of the ball. When it comes to what they got coming back, they have an opportunity to be the best defense in the SEC. If they're a top 20 defense, even, and not say they're the number 2 or 3 in the SEC, this offense will have enough for them to be in the playoff. Top 20. And if you look at history tells you that year 3 under Brent Venables' defense, he's got a guy that knows exactly what he wants to do, and Zach Alley was with him for 7 years. If they are anywhere close to what his year 3 defenses have been in the past, they're going to be top 20. Year 3 at Clemson, they gave up 17.5 points per game. Number 2 in the country. Number 2 total defense. Number 2 scoring defense as well. Yards per play, they were number 3. More wide 9 guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Look, I feel like it could be 25 and 26 may be an extension off of this year. They may be better on defense than people are going to give them credit for. If they're, again, I feel like all you got to do is be in the top 20. If you're in the top 20, giving up somewhere less than 20 points a game, they're going to, all the offense would have to do is be anywhere in the top 15 or 20 for them to make a run. If they don't turn the football over, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's going to be cool, Stephen G. How about them girls? What's the number? They're at 66 straight or 67 now? Unbelievable. Shout out to them lady, that Sooner softball team. Bouncing it. All that shit talking coming out of Texas that OU shouldn't be number 1, and then they turn around and lose to Stanford. Shut up. Mm-hmm. Thank you, CW. I agree. I think they can be. Yeah, 67 now. 67 game win streak. They haven't lost since Baylor last year, early in the season. The Chicago folks are scared. Hey, that's pretty wild, isn't it? I was just looking at that. Scoreboard. That's freaking crazy. What's going on, dude? It's starting to irritate me. No. Who is? Nobody's ready for SEC or for Oklahoma softball. Nobody. It's an impossibility. Let's see. R. Mason Thomas, you think he's going to have it together this year? That could be another big time guy. But I think Taylor Wine could make a move this year on the edge. Yeah, I still think PJ is going to be there. I just do. Kip Lewis, Lewis Carter, Kobe McKenzie. Is Connor Neer coming back? I always forget about that kid. Justin Harrington. I'm excited if he's healthy and ready to go again. Chicken. Do y'all have a basement there at least? Yeah. There you go. I was saying that earlier on because all this trash is being talked. Did you see what Drink was saying earlier today? Drink's such a freaking clown. Drink is such a clown, though. Dude's over there talking a bunch of crap about that he's going to be his left tackle automatically. Okay. I tend to wonder, but he kind of left the door open. He goes, well, he's got some position flexibility or whatever. I tend to wonder if he exposes his ass like that against Oklahoma, because you don't think they're going to have something ready for his ass on that offensive tackle. Now, do they have another offensive tackle that's as good as Caden Green? Probably not. But you don't think they're going to have something? Yeah, moving him to left tackle. David Stone. Yeah. Who the destructive player on OU's defense? Who's the biggest playmaker at what position? Well, the biggest playmaker last year was definitely Billy Bowman, safety. He led the country in pick sixes, interceptions. I think that Peyton Bowen could be that guy, but there's a lot of destructive guys. Danny Stutzman, he'll be on the preseason watch list linebacker and also for the Butkus Award. And then I also think we've been talking about PJ Adebawari. He's going to be that dude. His big brother went to Northwestern. He was the guy that ran like a 4.4 in the combine and got drafted out of Northwestern. Stud. And PJ's better than that guy. Right. Then, David Stone and Jaden Jackson. But I think that Peyton Bowen I think that he's going to end up being that impact guy. He's that Caleb Downs type of kid. I mean, Caleb Downs is a stud, but this is a dude that can, he was running step for step with Andrew Anthony in that spring game. And Andrew Anthony's world-class speed too, and gets his head around, makes an interception, on the deep ball. Perfect coverage. He could play corner or safety. I think he's that dude, man. There's a lot of guys, though, that could step up big. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Who is he? Who is he? Neilio? Stutzman. I mean, Stutzman's look, I think that he's your emotional leader on the defense, the guy that's going to get it together. But there's guys that can be more impactful when it comes to athletically speaking. We know that. The guys that they're bringing in. I listen, I love Stutzman, though. He's a stud, dude. So glad that he's there. Oh, Mimbu, yeah. Okay. So he's playing guard then? Gentry at cornerback as well, yeah. Media's sleeping on. Oh, you gotta let him do it. Yeah, he should have won the Thorpe. That was bullshit. Game changers? Yeah, I just said Peyton Bowen, PJ Adebawari. Both 5 stars. 5 stars coming in as sophomores. Yeah, well, it's still mid-zoo, though, bro. They better be ready for what they're going to get. They've been calling for it. They've been calling for that ass whipping. They're going to get it now. That's all there is to it. Hey, I hope you folks have hit that like button. Wiped your feet when you came in this house. I'm going to check real quick. Let's see where we're at on it. Cool. 21 likes so far. We've had out of about almost 200 viewers. Come on now. Help us out with that. Make sure you do all that. Yeah, he should have. Yeah, and I think like this is I like this statement, you know. He should have won the Thorpe. And I think that Stutzman, had he not gotten hurt when he did, he probably would have been a finalist for the Bucks. I think he still should have been a finalist for it, but he should have. But I do think that these guys they're that, you know, when you're talking about guys that can take that step. Another one would be Deshaun McCullough. I think that he could take that step. There's a lot of guys on this defense, though, that are really good. Yep, Jamar Mosey. Yep. Mm-hmm. He's a stud, bro. Are they all SEC? Yes. I think that I think for sure if Peyton Bowen is healthy, he's All-American type. And I think that Billy Bowman's an All-American. I think that Stutzman can be an All-American. I think Billy Bowman is. Yeah, they're on him. They're on him for sure, Neilio. They already like him. And him being mess around. You're not. Gentry Williams is a stud. His issue is staying healthy, man. His issue is staying healthy. Yeah. They're not. I mean, I think that there's so many people that are just giving it to them, and that look, their defense isn't going to be what it was last year. They lost their defensive staff, and a lot of their better players that are the guys that they're talking about that are going to get drafted, they're all on the defensive side of the ball. Is Williams Nwaneri going to be ready to be that guy in year one? I don't know. And yes, that offense is really good. I don't love Cook that much. I love their receiving core. But did they replace their running back? Because that little bowling ball dude was the key to me. He was the one that allowed them to be able to throw the ball around like they did. Luther Burden's a stud. There's no two ways around that. But you can scheme him out of the game if you're not getting anything from the running game. I remember that. Yeah, I remember. I remember his older kid. Uh-huh. Well, they're not going to be. I don't trust. Again, everybody that's giving them all this love, I heard that. I heard that on High Top last night. I've heard it everywhere. Everybody loves Mizzou. It's such an easy. That's one of those teams that everybody loves before the year starts, almost like freaking A&M annually, right? Annually, they talk about these guys. And what happens? When's the last time Mizzou was worth a shit? 10 years ago was the last time they won 10 games. Get out of here. It's not happening. It's just not happening. And I don't know, is Kirby better? I don't know about that. I think that he's up there with him, but yeah, I'm just sick of him. I'm just sick of him. And this whole deal with it, did you guys see what drink? I hadn't noticed this last year, but when and Josh didn't even say shit to him. And after the game, when they beat the hell out of Tennessee last year, by the way, but when he walked across to the other sideline, he goes to shake his hand. He said, "We're standing on business, Josh." And then he was saying it again at the basketball game last week. Crazy. Talk that shit to Oklahoma. Go ahead. Nah, it's going to be in Atlanta again. Kawan Lacey. Yeah. Yeah, and didn't they lose some of their offensive line or not really? Yeah. Look, look, you have to go in and prove it. And until you do that, I don't necessarily, again, I'm glad that they're kind of sleeping on Oklahoma. I think it's crazy that Texas can have one season, where they still lost it, and everybody forgets that they lost to Oklahoma. But they have one season where they get to the freaking playoff in the entirety of the playoff era. One conference championship in the last 15 years, 10 less than Oklahoma had since the inception of the Big 12. But all you hear about is Texas. And then you're hearing all this shit about Mizzou when they've been, if anything, they've been mid for freaking 10 years. What are we talking about? And they had a weak ass schedule. When they played somebody good last year, they lost. They were going to lose the Ohio State game to a third string freaking quarterback until the fourth quarter. They were losing in the fourth quarter. They won 14-3. That's true. Absolutely. Me either. If Neilio has any bias, it'd probably be towards Oklahoma. Most of his family went to OU. I love that. Hey, there's you another free. There's more free money for you, CW. There's more free money for you. Oh, what's funny? They held the Buckeyes to 3 points. All we got is 5 stars. Hold on. But they lost all that defense. They held them to 3 points when they were on their third string quarterback. Your starter for the whole season was gone already. They were on Devin Neal. Don't give me that shit. OSU wasn't. Hey, you're going to tell me that OSU was up for that game? I'm not buying it. That. Come on, bro. Preseason champions. Yeah, well, I'll ask you this, preseason champions. What if they don't win it? Is Ryan Day gone? All day long. Make money. Make your money. Hey, put them bets in now because by the time the Red River shows up, it's not going to be 10.5. Great time, right? Yeah, Midzu can kiss my ass. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of their mouth. I've never heard so much shit out of a completely shitty program as I've heard out of these guys. Never. Yeah. That's a tough game. Yeah, but we got to see if Oregon can handle all that travel too, because they're going to be traveling too. Yeah. I don't give a shit where they're playing it. They've talked so much shit. It wouldn't matter if they were playing it on the damn moon. They're going to kick the shit out of Midzu. That's just happening. I don't speak in freaking guarantees hardly ever. That one I will tell you they're winning that fucking game. Period. Yeah, it's in Columbia. Yeah. Okay, so if he loses to Michigan, I would think he needs to win the national championship to stay, right? But if he beats Michigan, then he needs to win one playoff game. That's what you think. That's what Hummus keeps saying too. So, yeah, I don't care what these guys. Again, these guys keep doing it, but I don't understand why. Didn't the same guy on SEC Unfiltered said they just got done talking about how really good this offense is going to be. I was just watching that shit earlier. What's it going to be? And Barrett Sallee, what a knucklehead that guy is. This guy's respected. I remember him from back in the day, and I thought he was better than that. I just don't get it. Facts, Neil. Facts. Hey, okay, yeah. Has to win if he loses to Michigan. Okay, so how do you feel about that? Are you that guy are you one of those people that thinks that he should be? I mean, the Michigan game, I understand that because if you're not beating your rival, you got to kind of go. I understand that. But he's been to multiple playoffs. He's won games in the playoffs. I mean, do you think it's the right time to let him go? If he completely underachieved, I don't know, man. Do you think he should be if he doesn't win the Natty? Oregon after home game at Ohio goes to Purdue, home to the Illini, away to Michigan, home Maryland, away Wisconsin, bye, home to Washington. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's not an easy. Wisconsin, that's a tough one. I think that they're going to be better this year. Fickle's been a good coach. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I think it is too. They're not used to making these trips like that, man. Even though Oregon and Washington, even in the Pac-12, those were long trips for them because the rest of the league was basically in California, but not this long and not that cold either. That's where I think that they're going to struggle with that. Yeah. Yeah. And particularly when you were born on third base, right? I get it, man. I understand that. Great question here. Will Howard. I don't know, man. I don't know. Who's? There's a video airing that what does Vegas know about Oklahoma that no one else knows? Who's putting this video out? I hadn't seen that. Brother, love you, man. Appreciate you coming in. Talk to you later. I'm about to get out of here myself. On 3. Yeah. It surprises me a little bit. I think they're probably a lot of that will go on schedule because of who they're playing and where. A lot of road games. I mean, I think that, but you know what Vegas does? Vegas is not, it's not just about what they really project. It's not. It's about where can they get the most bets that keeps them from being in jeopardy of losing money at those sports books. I've lived in Vegas for 15 years. They're going to place a line, not just where, I mean, a lot of times for a single game or whatever like that, they're going to place it pretty close to what it is on the over-under. You're going to see that a lot. But what you will see, particularly with stuff like this, long-term plays away, they're trying to entice bets, right, on both sides of it. Because you're hearing enough people around the SEC, around the country that are saying OU's not worth shit. They're giving all the love to Texas. They're not giving any love to OU. All the crap they talked about DG all last year that he wasn't good. Now he's the reason that, he's one of the reasons that you're saying that they're not going to be good, because Jackson Arnold, a 5-star Elite 11 winner, isn't going to be as good as the guy that you said sucked last year. Right? These are stupid narratives and we all know it. But the fact that they're out there means that you'll get bets on both sides of it. People, they know they're going to get a lot of bets on Missouri. But why did they put them at 9.5? Because even though I don't think there's a chance in hell they win freaking 10 games. A chance in hell. But you can bet your ass that every Mizzou freaking fan out there will bet the over on that. And there's a shit ton of people that'll be betting the under. And should be, by the way. There's more free money there. More free money there. Go bet the under on Mizzou. Bet the under on Texas. They're not going to win freaking 11 games. They're not. But again, the reason that it's at 7.5 in Vegas is because they know that they're never going to be in jeopardy there. They're going to make a lot of money off of that. They're going to make a lot of money in Vegas because they're going to get an equal amount of bets, and it doesn't matter which way it goes, they'll make money because they've got a lot of people that are hating on OU, and then you got a lot of pissed off OU fans that are going to bet the over because that's the way Vegas works. It's not about who they think is going to win all the time. People get that mixed up. They really do, man. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that video yesterday or the day before, I think. Yeah. I think that was that SEC Unfiltered too, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the odds for balance. CW, that's exactly right. Correct. Yeah, I think so too. That's the big thing. Got to hit the field goals. Don't be that team. Mm-hmm. Okay. But you could also flip all this stuff too. I mean, you got the O-line stuff. I guess that's probably the easiest argument that you can make is that it's just unknown. Except that you got Bill Bedenbaugh, and they've recruited very well. The last few years, they've recruited very well. The guys that were waiting and didn't really play a whole lot, Joshua Bates is a animal. They said that dude gets in fights every damn day at practice. He's that guy. Who you want? A monster too, by the way. Big Sexy's a bad dude too. They got the guy from Washington that was, played in the national championship game. He's been a starter there, and they were the Joe Moore Award winning line. They've got the guys coming in to, make adjustments where they need to, and they have the best offensive line coach in the country. I trust that they're going to be fine there. Quarterback-wise, yeah, experience-wise is okay. Talent-wise, you didn't lose anything. And everybody has to start their first season as a starter before they can start their second one. You got to get you have to get maturity before you have to get experience before you can be experienced, right? It's stupid shit to say, really, but it's just easy to make these narratives up. And people got to have something to talk about. We are in a 24-hour news cycle on everything. And the other thing, what would I just say about Vegas? They want to make sure that they're getting a lot of bets. They're stirring it up because they know they're going to get bets on both sides of it. A lot of these content creators are the same way. I don't know that I used to think Barrett Sallee was a smart guy. If he really believes what he said on that freaking SEC podcast, he's a dumb shit. And I probably need to play that game more to where I freaking say more stupid shit just for engagement. Here for engagement. Mizzou, you're going to get your ass whipped. No way in hell Missouri wins freaking 10 games. I would bet 2-1 against them winning 9. All day long. Yeah, McCord's a weak sauce dude, man. Weak sauce. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and from what I understand, he screwed himself too because he could have had his. When I was watching Zach Smith and them, the Minister Sports guy. I like that show, by the way. They're crazier than shit. But he was talking about that they were going to play Quinn Ewers in the end of the year, that one year, and Kyle McCord's dad threw a fit, and Data let him get away with it. And McCord ended up losing his red shirt because of it. Now he's played 1 year, and I only think he may have 1 year left. And he's only played 1 year. What the hell was that about? Talk about dads getting in the way. What a dumbass. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. Particularly when they recruit as well as they do everywhere, right? Again, yes. See, so that's what we're talking about. So all of these things that are being said, it's a lot of stuff to get clicks. Exactly. A lot of clickbait. But the other part of it is again, it's easy narratives to kind of really, if you're not really paying attention to everything. Now I'm going to sit here and tell you that, I mean, I paid a lot of attention to Texas because it's Texas. We do that, right? I've paid obviously paid a ton of attention to Georgia because it's Georgia. Alabama, I know very well. I've paid a lot more attention lately to Tennessee. I think that Tennessee is a better team than Missouri. And I've been watching Missouri. I forgot about that offensive lineman that you had brought up, Neilio, but I don't see it, man. They lost a lot of guys off of that defense, and they lost most of their defensive staff. I don't see them being that team again. Offensively, yeah, they might be good, but here's the thing. You can shut down an offense, and even if you just shut it down a little bit, again, if Oklahoma's a top 20, top 10 defense, is that offense good enough to put up 30 points on them? Because their defense isn't going to be good enough to keep Oklahoma from scoring 30. Straight up. They weren't last year. Look at what Jaden Daniels did to them. Ate their ass alive in Columbia. Hey, sorry, man. I've been sick and tired of hearing some of the shit I've been hearing. No, man. They've never done it. Yeah. Dude, that last won a conference championship in World War II. Come on. Nope, he's not. He's fragile. He's fragile in more than one ways too about Quinn. Quinn is mentally fragile. Remember they talked about that a lot before the Red River game, how he has to do this little thing because of his anxiety. When you start hearing about a quarterback having anxiety, bad news, bro. And he did have it. He had it. He threw an interception on his first damn throw. Now there you are, Mike. Where you been? Look, should he be better? Should he be better? Yeah, he should be. But here's the thing again. You got a whole new group of receivers, an entirely new group of receivers. And the only guy coming back is what? Dante, I guess, the guy that was a freshman last year. Or Jonte Cook, right? And then you've got your backup running backs that weren't that damn good, but they lost Jatavion Sanders, they lost Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, even Jordan Whittington. He's got to get on the same page with all those guys again. And their defense isn't going to be as good. I don't buy it. I watched that dude freaking go 19 of 40 freaking 9 against Okie Light. Lose a 10-point lead, had a 17 from the third quarter on to lose that game, and had 2 picks. In the second half of that freaking game, he led them to 1 scoring drive. It was a field goal. They had 5 punts, 2 interceptions, and a missed field goal the rest of the half. And this is with Bijan freaking Robinson. Come on. Yep. Yeah. He's also never been healthy for a full season. Never been. That's the other fragile part of him. He's fragile mentally, but he's also fragile physically. He's never been healthy a whole season. One of the things that Steven from Fanatic Perspective said, Nino said it earlier in the year, that the most important player on that team was going to be Malik Murphy. He said it. He said it earlier in the year before Quinn ever got hurt. He said it because he was assuming that Quinn was going to get hurt. Yeah, I like Malik, man. He's a stud. I'm so glad. So glad he's not at Texas anymore. Really glad. Yeah, D-line's gone as well. Yep. Hey, okay. And if yours is true to form and gets hurt even for a game or two, what's Arch going to do? Is he going to be ready? We haven't seen him throw the ball much except for in that spring game, and it didn't look good. When they put him in at the end of the games that they put him in, he was just running the ball. They were just running the football. He hardly threw the ball at all. We haven't seen shit out of him. Yeah. I think Malik's a stud, bro. Malik is a stud. I'm so glad. Mm-hmm. I said that on my video from yesterday. I got all kinds of people talking shit. Even Oklahoma fans talking shit to me on that video. Just pointed out that, all the love for freaking Lincoln Riley, and everybody forgot that, he was a freaking missed 2-point conversion away from losing his last 6 games. of the regular season, from going to 6-0 to 0-6. Yeah, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but again, yeah, that was more K-State blowing that than that was Malik. But Malik did what he needed to do when he needed to do it, though, too. Which I'll tell you this: we've seen Quinn not come up in those games that are tight, not come up big, and not find a way to win. And we're talking about a guy who hadn't been a starter, so I mean, that was still big. Ooh. Hey man, Orca. That's scary. That's a scary thought. Malik Murphy at Ohio State. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Stephen G. Chrissy Sims. Yeah. Hey, Bishop Frank, there he is. What's up? What's up? What's up, my man? Good to see you. Guys, we're really I'm glad you guys all came in. I was hoping we'd get a couple of guys to come on tonight and talk about some other stuff, but I enjoy just being able to get in here and talk about OU stuff, interact with you guys too. Like to do a lot more of that. Got to push more of these videos out and stuff like that. And honestly, a lot of times my recorded stuff that are shorter, I'm getting more views. So I'm going to do more of that kind of stuff, but I want to be able to do these live streams and get you guys on here and be able to interact with you. I appreciate all of that. Guys, I hadn't really brought any of this up yet, but if you haven't already checked it out, look, our new, in fact, right now, Devil Dogs is making some changes to that as far as what they're doing. I don't know exactly what they're doing with it. You can still use the link if you're getting over there. Get over there and go ahead and do some stuff with that. Again, they're still going to make sure that any order that you have or whatever is always going to make sure it helps out the Wounded Warrior, which is my main reason for that partnership. But our Mint Mobile partnership, I wanted to say, and if you're AT&T customers, you dealt with a lot of shit last week. You don't have to. You don't have to, and you do not have to pay the kind of money that a lot of us are paying with Verizon or AT&T or any of them, right? They are on that T-Mobile towers that have more 5G coverage than anybody in the nation. It's the largest 5G network in the country. If you go through our link, trymintmobile.com/HOF, you get 3 months unlimited talk, text, and data on that network, $45. You prepay all of it. That's $15 a month. You can bring your own phone. You can do all of this just going through the website. Look, man, I'm going to be switching over to it this week. I'm going to be switching over to it. I don't really need the data as much, but you get unlimited data for the first 3 months. Get on there and check it out, man. There's a reason why, Big Wireless wants you to think you got to have them. It's not true. You just don't have to. So get on there and at least check it out. Take a look at it. trymintmobile.com/HOF. Get in there and check out our official show merchandise. I think I do need to put a shirt up about Mizzou, huh? Help me come up with a good saying about Mizzou. Neil, you can jump in on that as well. Ooh, yes, they did do that, huh? I love it. BYU knocked the Chicken Hawks out. Wow. Hey, thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil. We appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, again, get on there and check that out on Mint Mobile. But our show merch, get on there and check that out too. We obviously got the Texas Sucks things, Hall of Fame Mafia designs. I want to do some more of these funnier type of t-shirts, stuff like that. We'll get some more stuff for soft ass Quinn or something like that. We'll come up with something funny. But we got to get something stupid about drinking in Mizzou. I think it'd be fun, right? Muck Fizzoo. Ooh. There we go. I love it. I'm gonna screenshot that. Beautiful. Arkansas beat Texas. Missouri goes 5-7. OU beats both. Finished 9-3. Salute. Shout out to Buc-ee's. Absolutely. Mizzou. I don't give a shit. There's already an I don't give a shit shirt up there, by the way. But for the coach. But yeah, awesome. We got some of that up there. Let me know, guys. Fuck mid zoo. They've been calling them mid poo lately. I've been seeing a lot of that. It's funny stuff, man. Always good stuff. Muck Fizzu t-shirts. I like that, man. I like it. Cool stuff. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, we'll add some more of that kind of stuff. Hey, the free way to make sure that you support the program, as I always tell you guys, just hit that like button, share us with your friends, and make sure that we continue to grow this channel. We'd appreciate it a lot. If you haven't already become a member of the Hall of Fame Sooner channels, or just a subscriber to Hall of Fame Sooner Network, get over there and do that. I'm posting most everything over there. I kind of need help with some of the posting stuff, but I'm posting all the Oklahoma stuff there, working towards making that our OU exclusive channel to where we just do OU stuff. But yeah, make sure you guys get over there and check that one out as well. Appreciate everybody coming out, man. No doubt about it. Yeah, man, definitely. Well, you can wear it whenever she's, not paying attention. Her undershirt or whatever. At least it's there. Yeah. She would have your bags. She's loving on them, huh? She's an MU alum. Yeah, I get it, man. No worries. That's got to be a house divided, huh? House divided. You're in Springfield, Illinois? Right on. Well, hey, be careful out there. Hey, man, thank you guys so much for all the folks that have already subscribed and done all that. We appreciate you. All you guys' support means an awful lot to us here on the show. We'll have Coach back later on this week. And, hey, make sure that you jump back over here for No Cap SEC Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern time, right here on Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the Coach channel. We appreciate everybody coming out. And, hey, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with our Mint Mobile commercial. We will see you all on the next one. Orange down. Is your wireless company giving you a case of the what in the why is my wireless bill so expensive? Question. Why are we paying so much for wireless service? Is it for speed, coverage, data, 5G access, mobile hotspot? Well, our new partners at Hall of Fame College Football, Mint Mobile, they have all these features. And for way, way less than big wireless. Like way, way less. As low as $15 a month. You can get signed up and activate your service immediately without having to leave your home. Mint Mobile reimagined the wireless process, making it easy and online. No more stores, no salespeople, and no given. With Mint Mobile, you get all the features you become accustomed to with big wireless, the nation's largest 5G network, and service for as low as $15 a month. To start saving today, just log on to our partner website, trymintmobile.com/HOF. Again, that's trymintmobile.com/HOF. You can get signed up and activate your service immediately. Big Wireless wants you to believe they're the only option. Here's the deal. Big Wireless. You get comparable service to Big Wireless. You don't have to talk to a salesperson to do it. Largest 5G network in the country, as low as $15 a month. Sign up for Mint Mobile today so you can stop getting by Big Wireless.
Who has a brighter future moving forward in the SEC? Oklahoma under Venables or Missouri under Drinkwitz?
Missouri. I think Missouri does.
What?
That's what he said. I know. That's what he said. Who wants to go first on this?
That is blasphemous. That is blasphemous.